Could I just start with your name, your age, your occupation?
Yeah, my name is Dr. Bernardo. I'm a naturopath, and I treat people holistically, which means I treat the whole body. I use no prescription drugs, none of that. What happens, a patient comes to me with cancer, their doctor or oncologist does what he has to do, and normally the patient comes to me in the final stage of the disease, and many times we can turn them around very dramatically. One of the things that we found out that all cancer patients, their pH is acid, which by this I mean everything in nature has a pH from 1 to 14, 7 being water, blood being 7.2. When we're born, all our intercellular fluids, including saliva, have to have a pH of 7.2 to 7.4. When cancer patients come, or anybody's very sick, they're very acidic. Their pH runs around 5. At 4.5, the patient is going to die. There's no ifs and buts about it. When a patient drowns, the pH is normally 4.5 because it's very acidic. So what I get the patient immediately, and I've been called a quack for saying this, put the patient on lemon juice and water. Lemon juice is an acid, and when you drink it, it helps to an alkaline tide in the body, so your pH starts going up. Might take 3 weeks to 4 weeks because you're approximately 80% water. So if you weigh 200 pounds, there's about 160 pounds of water. We have to raise the pH to 7.2. And it's been my opinion that all cancer ceases at pH 6.8 and it dies at pH 7. I have many patients that came to me that were told, go home and die. You've got 4 weeks, 5 weeks. The most dramatic of them was Robert Littman, who came from Cedars. I call it death camp Cedars because they sentenced a lot of people to death and they got billions of dollars worth of equipment. What I do is Robert Littman came to me quite morose. I said, what's the matter? He said, well, I don't know why I'm here. They told me I'm going to die in about 6 to 8 weeks. I said, who told you that? He said, Cedars. I said, oh, you mean death camp Cedars sends you to death? He said, well, you can't say that till you see my x-rays. So I put the x-rays up on the chart, and 42 tumors. I said, now tell me that you can turn me around. I said, if you do what I tell you, I can turn you around. If you don't believe me, go back to death camp, and you'll be dead in 2 months. But if you give me about 14, 15 months, all the tumors will be gone. He said, Bernardo, get real. I said, go back to Cedars or get on my program. Robert Littman, who was in his early years, was a big agent for one of the movie people in Europe. He had Elizabeth Taylor, Roddy McDowell, Greer Garson, all those people. Great guy. So he went on the program, and when he came, he was already ashen. You could see he was dying. His cheeks were sunk in. And in a matter of 14, 15 months, he called me, came down, congratulated me. I didn't recognize him. He looked fantastic. He says, I got great news. I have only one tumor the size of a grape. I said, I told you it was no big deal. He said, you're a madman. You're a madman. Why don't they use it in the States? I said, because there's no money. How much did it cost you? He said, well, it didn't cost me as much as a couple of bags of chemotherapy. Correct. And I'm sorry to say, it's a matter of money. So anyway, he lived, he died 10 years later. He came back, never stopped smoking 5 packs a day. Came back 10 years later with a tumor in the head. We took it out. He lived, and then a year later he came with a tumor in the spinal column. We took it out. He was fine. And then about a month later, he died of a heart attack. If he had stopped smoking, he'd still be alive today. Great guy, wonderful guy.